plans, goals, fantasies, the most intimate aspects of our being. The book you are holding is built from an introduction to psychology course that I've taught for many years as a professor at Yale University. This is one of the most popular courses at Yale, and I have taught thousands of undergraduates, sometimes as their very first course at a university. Based on these lectures, I created an online course that has had an enrollment so far of about 1 million students. I love teaching Introduction to Psychology, but there is a limit to how much one can convey in a series of lectures, and there is so much material to cover. And so I decided to write Psych. The scope here is broad, and if you choose to read this from cover to cover, you'll have a grounding in every major aspect of the science of psychology. Among other things, Psych will put forth the best answers we have to the following questions. How does the brain, a 3-pound lump of bloody meat, give rise to intelligence and conscious experience? What did Freud get right about human nature? What did Skinner get right about human nature? Where does knowledge come from? How does the mind of a child differ from that of an adult? What is the relationship between language and thought? How do our biases affect how we see and remember the world? Are we rational beings? What motivates us, and what is the purpose of feelings such as fear, disgust, and compassion? How do we think of other people, including those from other social and ethnic groups? How and why do we differ in personality, intelligence, and other traits? What is the cause and treatment of different mental illnesses? What makes people happy? Each chapter of this book can be read as a standalone piece. It's fine if you decide to dive in and read about Freud or language or mental illness, or even jump to the end, to the part on happiness. Nobody is judging you. But there is a flow to this book. There are themes and ideas that stretch across these disparate chapters, and there is a satisfaction to seeing the story unfold in its proper order. Some parts of this story make people uncomfortable. We'll see that modern psychology accepts a mechanistic conception of mental life, one that is materialist, seeing the mind as a physical thing, evolutionary, seeing our psychologies as the product of biological evolution shaped to a large extent by natural selection, and causal, seeing our thoughts and actions as the product of the forces of genes, culture, and individual experience. You might worry that there is something missing here. This conception of mental life might seem to clash with common sense notions of free choice and moral responsibility. It might seem to clash as well with the notion that humans have a transcendent or spiritual nature. The tension here is nicely illustrated by John Updike in his Rabbit at Rest, when Harry Rabbit Angstrom talks to his friend Charlie about Charlie's recent surgery. Pig valves, Rabbit tries to hide his revulsion. Was it terrible? They split your chest open and ran your blood through a machine? Piece of cake. You're knocked out cold. What's wrong with running your blood through a machine? What else you think you are, champ? A god made one of a kind with an immortal soul breathed in, a vehicle of grace, a battlefield of good and evil, an apprentice angel. You're just a soft machine, Charlie maintains. There are different ways to react to all this. I know philosophers and psychologists who confidently assert there's no such thing as free will or moral responsibility, and I've met others who reject the science, who worry that such an approach to the mind takes the specialness away from people. It diminishes us somehow. It's too reductionist, too crude. It reduces us to computers or lumps of cells or lab rats. They reason, if psychology is going to tell me that I'm just a machine, that the most intimate aspects of my being are nothing more than neural firings, well, so much for psychology. My own view is that we can find a middle ground here.